Well, if you're trying to project the Twins starting rotation right now, there is a lot of uncertainty, but at least for the time being, Simeon Woods Richardson is very likely part of that group. On the surface, he had a perfectly respectable season last year. He finished with a 4.04 ERA over 111 and a third innings, striking out 107 hitters while walking 46. He missed a bit of time with an injury later in the season, but when he was healthy, he generally gave the Twins solid and competitive innings. And I think there is definitely value in that. I mean, if you're comparing him to his competition right now, guys like Zebby Matthews, Taj Bradley, McAble, Woods Richardson probably gives you the most consistent and dependent innings of that bunch. So for that reason alone, I do think there is a near 100% chance that he will open the season in the Twins starting rotation. But the more you dig into his profile, the more you kind of start to wonder if that's actually the role that makes the most sense for him. Because a lot of the underlying data from last season was just not encouraging. His walk rate finished in just the 20th percentile among all major league pitchers. His chase rate was in the 22nd percentile. His barrel rate was all the way down in the 7th percentile. And when you combine all of that with a very heavy fly ball pitcher, it's not surprising that he gave up 17 home runs in those 111 innings. It's hard to sustain a high threes, low fours ERA when you're not missing a lot of bats, you're not generating a lot of weak contact, and you're not keeping the ball on the ground very often. And unfortunately, when you look at the actual stuff, things don't really get a whole lot more encouraging. Now, to be fair, he does have a couple pitches with some interesting characteristics. His fastball does induce a good amount of vertical break, and his curveball can show some pretty sharp bite. But when you look at the overall pitch quality metrics, and specifically Stuff Plus, his changeup was the only pitch in his arsenal that actually graded out as an above average pitch from a movement perspective last season. And the problem with that is that he only threw it 4% of the time. Everything else in his arsenal graded out as below average. And on top of that, his velocity is certainly not overwhelming. He usually sits around 93 miles an hour with his fastball, and he doesn't have another pitch that, can just blow guys away. So when you combine that below average velocity with the below average stuff, it becomes pretty difficult to consistently overpower hitters the deeper you get into games. And that's where another really interesting part of his profile shows up, and that is his splits through the batting order. Last season, Woods Richardson was really effective the first time he faced the lineup. Opposing hitters produced just a 261 ERA against him his first time through the order. But once guys started seeing him for a second and even third time, his ERA jumped north of 5. When you see splits like that, it usually tells you something pretty important about how a pitcher might be best utilized, because that type of profile fits much better often in a relief role than it does as a starter. And I think instead of asking him to, give you 5 or 6 innings every fifth day, you can simply ask him to go 2 innings at a time, get through the lineup once, and he'd be even more effective, possibly. You also have to factor in guys like Connor Prelip and Kendry Rojas could be ready for major league opportunities at some point sooner than later. And if/when that happens, the Twins could suddenly have 6, 7, maybe even 8 starting options with better velocity and more electric stuff than Woods Richardson has. So if you're the Twins, I think you kind of have to ask yourself, is Simeon Woods Richardson more valuable, trying to grind through 5 to 6 innings at a time as a starter? Or could he actually be more effective as a, multi-inning guy out of the bullpen? Personally, I would go with the latter. I think the answer is the bullpen. And if the Twins are looking for, creative ways to maximize the value of their pitching staff this year, I think that's an experiment certainly that's worth trying. But that's just me, and I think that's all I've got for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for Twins news and updates every single day. But until next time, I'm Sam Calder, and I'm out.